Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Today's Weather Tonight. Here, as always, I am Cloud Hudson, your meteorologist for the evening. And I am actually going to do something a little different at the start of this broadcast, just to make sure that everybody is able to see me. I'm going to broadcast, I'm going to send out a little alert to my people. I am in fact live. Let's see. Go to my YouTube page. See this live. I see the live. There we go. I'm going to share it. All right. I guess I'll share it on Patreon too. Let's see. Who can see this? All members, all public. There we go. All right, so this might not make for the most exciting first 5 minutes of the broadcast, but hopefully this means that folks will find it faster. Maybe we'll get to have some people in the chat talk to each other. I don't know, maybe. Well, let's go ahead and get started with our weather headlines tonight. I'm going to kick us off by looking at the volcanoes for tonight. What is our volcano news? I know we've been keeping our eye on Rearcast Peninsula. Let's see. Samiru has some activity there in East Java, Indonesia. Volcanic ash to flight level 150. I really wish there was a map of volcanic ash plume emissions based on these. It's not METAR reports. I forget what the name of this is. Based on these flight reports. Popo not observed to be emitting, and Fuego definitely erupting. Let's see. 2 simultaneously growing lava domes, the recently formed Karan 1 dome on the southwest of the young Shivaluk volcano lava dome, upper right. So, okay. That is the young Shivaluk volcano dome, and this is the new recently formed lava dome. These are on the Shivaluk volcano, or Kamchatka, in the Kamchatka Peninsula of Russia/Siberia. Got Mount Ibeco just south of that, also continuing its eruptions, with volcanic ash reaching into the sky, clearly glaciating up high. Glaciating meaning turning into ice clouds or condensing ice clouds. Volcanic ash is no longer identifiable from Suwanosejima. Mount Ibu continues its morning time ritual of a daily explosion. Kind of scary to see it vacillating between alert levels 3 and 4 so rapidly. And then Dukono also exploded this morning with a good morning Indonesia. Dukono volcano having actually more pronounced cloud formation next to its eruption. Let's see. Lewotolo continues its volcanic ash emissions at a pretty low level, though. Samiru continues to explode. Dukono, this is the vigorous explosion took place from the crater vent. Popo continues to emit, so does Fuego. And Sabancaya had an explosive eruption today. Ash reached all the way up to flight level 240. So, and then Concepcion in Nicaragua has not had any volcanic ash emissions, and Reventador continues its activity. Here's a quick list of all of the volcanoes currently erupting. We don't go over every one every time. Like there's Mount Michael here in the South Sandwich Islands and Erebus down in Antarctica that we don't talk about a lot, and Tinacola and Yasur in an area of very tectonically active Western Pacific, but we don't talk about these quite as often. Neither do we talk about the Barren Islands volcanoes, but they are still erupting nonetheless. Let's go now to taking a look at our earthquakes. Welcome everyone in the chat. I hope that you can hear me, see me, and I hope you're having a great Friday night. It is a fun Friday night out there. By fun, I mean time for reflection and challenge. Fun in a Saturnian definition of fun, but it could also be fun in a very Venusian, lush kind of way. Okay. Looking at today's earthquakes, 4.7 and 4.1 down in South America. A stack of mid-range 2s came in around Puerto Rico. We've got all the way up to a 4.6 here, just off the coast of, this is the right date. For some reason, it's showing the 6.3 from the 12th. Can you show me the correct date, please? Yeah. These are all from 5/17, May 17th. This is right on the Mexico's southern border in the province of Chiapas. We've got a lot of activity here, 4.3 to 4.6 range, and really stretching from Chiapas into the Guerrero coast and all along the plate boundary there, just off the coast of Mexico. We've got in the central U.S., things are heating up. We had a 3.8 at 7 kilometers depth yesterday in the New Madrid seismic zone region. We also had a southern Appalachian quake down here in looks to be just on the Georgia side or the Tennessee side. It's just on the Tennessee side of the Georgia border, in the southern Appalachians. And yeah, can you just show me the quakes that I asked for, please? Thank you. That would be awesome. Nope. Wants to cut me back for some reason. Whenever the I'm gonna put refresh on like every 10 minutes and see if that helps not kick us out of our settings here. Yeah, so a 3.4 in the middle of all this. That's the 1.9. 3.8, I guess. What is this larger one that I'm seeing? Oh, no, that is the 3.8. 1.2 up in New Jersey. That's in the area where we had seen that New Jersey earthquake earlier in the month. And then a slew of earthquakes here throughout the Midwest and Southwest, stretching from Oklahoma near the Kansas border to the Colorado, New Mexico border. And as always, our big ol' pile of earthquakes in the fracking zone of Texas. I mean, it's all fracking zone, but there is a concentration point of a lot of quakes right here in Western Texas. As well as this 3.0 near San Antonio, that is a notable area for quakes as well. Getting lots of we're getting well over the twos. We're getting a good deal of earthquakes in the threes now, working their way into the United States. Even though the number of earthquakes hasn't dropped, there's still a good deal of them. Here is the movement of upper level medium-sized quakes from the Juan de Fuca fracture zone into the San Andreas Fault fracture zones into the LA Valley Basin. Here on the California-Mexico border, there's always a good deal of, right near San Diego, actually, there's always a good deal of stronger earthquakes. And these are coming in at anywhere from 7 to, this 3.8 is mildly deep for this area, 159 kilometers depth. So it looks like the stronger quakes are deeper there. We also had one in Montana. Let's see. Man, it is, even with the lower magnitude quakes turned off, it is a cluster up here in Alaska. There is, let's see, like at least 10 or 15 quakes clustered around Alaska. From the Aleutian Island chain to British Columbia, we are seeing a slew of 2.5 to 4.5 range quakes. And as you can see, the colors indicating, I have it color coded to show blue as earlier quakes and red as more recent quakes. You can see that it kind of has ping-ponged back and forth between these two extents, almost spreading this way. As we move that way, it looks like we don't, and as I bring in the smaller quakes, you see a bunch over Hawaii. Where we've seen volcanic activity, though, is right here, so it'll be really interesting to see the effects of tectonic activity, or like if there's a correlation between earthquakes and volcanoes. The 4.5 and 4.6s continue into a very beautiful demonstration of the way that momentum moves through this plate. First, it hits this corner, then this corner, then these corners kind of simultaneously. This diamond-shaped plate is getting subducted on either side. So it's a really, it goes like this. What else can I say? These are medium depth range. And then as we get out into Papua New Guinea, Fiji, and Tonga Islands region, we get, again, this beautiful ramping. Do you see the ramping up and down? As we move towards the South Pole, the quakes get shallower and shallower. The big place where they pop out is right at the the peak of the wave in the wave-shaped plate boundary. I'm going to turn these down so you can see. There we go. This is where they pop out. This is where, if your forefingers are the curl of the wave, your thumb is the angular momentum that pops out of this plane curling in. This is where the earthquakes pop out of the plate and propagate themselves downward into New Zealand. There's been a huge number of earthquakes in New Zealand. There's also been a large number of really heavy 4s and 5s up here as we get into the Papua New Guinea range. And the deepest ones here are coming in at 420 kilometers depth, 579 kilometers depth, I think is the deepest one here. We've got quite a few very far south. We'll get into that in a second. And then, of course, a spreading backwards. Instead of coming out of this area, the momentum has spread. We started off on Western Australia, moved down, and most recent quake being right here, the 2.6 near Sydney, I think. Then as we as we keep going westward, we had a 5.3 on the plate boundary between the Indo-Australian plate and the Antarctic plate. We also had 3 pretty evenly spaced 4s marching their way again from west to east, which is interesting because usually momentum moves the opposite way. Had another exciting day of Mediterranean quakes. I'm going to have to turn the rings down to see. These are mostly concentrated around Crete and Greece, but definitely getting into the Turkey coastline. Not looking like they're propagating inward too well. But we are, again, I mean, these are close to the Albanian border as well. So it's kind of, it is a bit hard for me to say with so many quakes on here. Okay, here's the 3s. Yeah, they are mostly all in Greece. Okay. Then as we continue around the globe, we've got, let me turn the quake sizes up. We've got a 5.3, also another mid-ocean 5.3 at 0 kilometers depth on the North Mid-Atlantic Ridge, 4.9 here at 10 kilometers depth, and a 5.0 near Mount Michael that I was talking about being an active eruption down here in the South Sandwich Islands. Oh, and this didn't pop up earlier because my data was probably misbehaving, but 5.3 at 0 kilometers depth here. Okay, let's go now to check out our terrestrial atmospheric weather because that is pretty exciting today. Let's see. Are y'all here? Can y'all hear me? In the chat, drop if you can hear me, because recently I've had some issues with my microphone. I don't want to just be talking. I mean, I don't mind that actually, but okay. So yesterday's storm has now been analyzed to have been a confirmed derecho. I'm going to go over what that means in a second with some diagrams, some nice helpful diagrams I found. And the result of that, basically big windstorm, has been a large swath of power outages throughout the Gulf Coast, stretching from Houston into Mississippi. And the remnants of that are up here in the mid-Atlantic right now, but we've got another set of storms coming in. I don't know if these are qualified for derecho category though. But yesterday's definitely is getting analyzed that way. Let's see. Let's see how this storm is moving. If I can. Yeah. I mean, we've got some segments that are bowing out in isolated fashion and definitely bowing in the direction of propagation. But I don't know if we've got the upper layers in place for the same type of damage today. But though this will be significant over water. And for anybody who had a significant power outage or storm damage last night, it's not awesome to have another severe storm right behind it. But so far, this looks to be less scary than last night's storm. We do have a few warnings out, though, like the flash flood warning here in Arkansas near Russellville, near the Ozark St. Francis National Forest. It looks like we've got a little microcirculation here. But it is petering out. Let's see. Where else do we have? Oh, yeah. Most of our warnings right now we're under a tornado watch in northern Florida. We've got special marine warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings, as well as some flash flood warning on the backside of this. We've also got a special weather statement here, looking for land spouts, wind gusts, and half-inch hail. So, not calm, but definitely not the worst that May can throw at us. Now, up here in North and South Dakota, we're under a severe thunderstorm watch that is less imminent than a warning, but we are still looking at favorable conditions for a severe storm to form. Let's see now. There is also an isolated cell that has a thunderstorm warning here in northeastern Wyoming. So look out if you are near Gillette, Wyoming. Not many people in the chat, I bet, are from Gillette, Wyoming. Not many people from the chat and not many people from Wyoming. So maybe they cancel out. No, and looks like they are finally actually getting some help. They being the firefighters up here in California, Canada. Up in Canada, they are getting a little bit of help from the rainfall with the wildfires that have been popping back up as the temperatures warm and the frost layer of the earth thaws. As soil temperatures rise, the smoldering ashes can reignite. Kind of like a little frog that goes into hibernation. Okay, I said I wanted to talk about let's show. Okay, here is a page full of great diagrams of a derecho that I wanted to show. Okay, so basically it starts with a gust front coming in, that creating a area of the cold pool or the rear flank downdraft, the air that gets cold because it was evaporated from. When a thunderstorm happens, the latent heat is grabbed from the air in order to move air to a higher state. And this cools the air, the creation of the raindrops. The cooled air also falls down behind the storm. That creates a cold pool behind the storm front itself. That cold pool reinforces the frontal motion, spreads out, and makes the front gust out even faster, creating faster uplift of the cloud and more rain and more cooling in the rear flank downdraft. This is kind of shown in this little GIF right here. Here's the gust front, and behind it you see the cirrus clouds, the ice clouds forming. This is how a derecho forms, is when there's straight line winds in the direction of the gust front propagation. And the rain is just one part of it. It's also the fact that this is like a thermal gradient that sustains itself. Like, of course, as it's going to entrain thunderstorms along the line of propagation, but it's also creating the like the backflowing eddies, kind of like almost like it's shedding a vortex, that it's shedding like 1/4 of a vortex that comes in and lifts the storm up, and it just stretches out as it propagates. And there are two types. There are the serial derechos and the progressive derecho, and it looks like last night's event was a progressive derecho. So, yeah, it's really interesting dynamics of the atmosphere. Basically, I don't even know how to put this basically. Oh, did I just do this all with the thing in the wrong order? Sorry, y'all were looking at my face the whole time. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Gust front. Yeah. It's these little Boeing line segments. It's the linear convective system where you can see it would look like this is the easiest one to picture what the cloud would look like in real life from looking at the radar, because a shelf cloud looks like a shelf cloud. A roll cloud looks like a roll cloud. This is definitely that scary, ominous, big oyster clamshell of dark thunderstorms coming towards you. This big old system, this spaceship, this absolute monster alien looking spaceship that comes down. That is what it looks like down there. Now, a lot of this happened after dark last night in Houston, so they couldn't. Well, actually, downwind of Houston was after dark. Houston, they probably saw it right around sunset and must have been really scary. Okay, let's move on. I want to move on to talking about the rest of our weather so that I can get some rest, because I do need to rest because of space weather. Let's talk about it. Oh, I guess I wanted to I'm going to talk about our Schumann resonances first. All right. Yeah, it looks like on the 17th and into the beginning of the 18th, we have gotten some pretty nominal Schumann resonance activity, but it's picked up in the higher ranges in the most recent hours. We had some really high low-level activity, but it looks like modes 3 and 4 had picked up in their share of the energy propagation here. Let's see where our power levels have ended up. Oh, yeah, definitely a lot of discrete power bursts throughout the day on the 17th. That is interestingly periodic. It's like every hour on the hour, there are new bursts of information, bursts of energy going from the ionosphere to the ground. And yeah, modes 3 and 4 look to be leading the pack in terms of power in this last hump of it, which is really interesting. Let's go back to looking at the chronomass ejections. Looks like, all right, on the 17th, we have gone from 50 to 64, like 15 chronomass ejections today, and one of them had a partial halo, potential full halo type 2. You can even see Venus moving back there. Or actually, maybe that's... I don't remember what planet that would be. I bet that this is it's either Jupiter or Venus that we're seeing behind the sun there. We did have a little bit more of a geomagnetic storm today, again, this time being from the coronal mass ejections that were launched in the middle of the geomagnetic storm that started last week. Let's look at today's hemispheric power. Did peak up into some moderate storm territory. We got all the way up to over 100 gigawatts of hemispheric power, both in the north and south, northern and southern hemispheres. Yeah. Let's see. We also saw a G1 level geomagnetic storm, putting us at a KP of 5. The threshold was reached around 2230 UTC. We also had a Type 2 and a Type 4 radio emission, and the strongest solar flare today was M7.25 from the new darling of our solar maximum, a 3686 region. So those 6s really showing up a lot. Magnetometers looked good for aurora chasers earlier in the evening, and we do have a decent southward component on the interplanetary magnetic field, yet our density is highly variable. Solar wind speed is elevated, and the magnetic field is pretty strong, hovering around 12 nanotesla. So that's also favorable for storm conditions. We are currently in moderate storm conditions, according to the Disturbance Storm Time Index. 3685 and 3686 are the new most powerful look-in regions. Our solar protons continue to go back down to nominal levels, but we're still a little bit elevated. Let's see our solar flares. The solar flare baseline has gone back down to around C-class flare as our baseline. But I mean, like 2 days ago, Wednesday, we had 2 X-class flares. So there is still a lot of X-ray radiation coming from the sun. And our highest today was only an M7.25, something that would be newsworthy in a less active time of the solar cycle. I only want to look at the developments of the sunspots today. Because again, this looks to me like a type of flow around the middle ring, the equator of the sun. It looks like a type of flow that is like vortex shedding, where a fluid flow is going from being a laminar flow to a turbulent flow. It looks like it's shedding vortices of sunspot groups here. Do you see that? The like fish scale, bird feather, bowing out of these segments. This looks like a really severe segment. For planetary weather. Planetary weather, we are looking at a beautiful kite formation currently. We are in a Venus day and a Venus hour. We started this broadcast, I think, in a Venus day, Venus hour. Let's look at time we're at. Yeah, we started at a Venus day and a Venus hour, so it's a beautiful broadcast. We are currently experiencing our Mars conjunct North Node in Aries transit, while we have that is disconnected from everything. That's just kind of happening over on its side as we are really taking action and finding awareness surrounding the North Node and Aries themes, whatever those have shown themselves to be for you this time. We've got a kite formation going from Neptune opposite Moon in Virgo to including Pluto, trine, this whole conjunction pile up in late Taurus. And that Pluto is also technically square. I'd say it's more squaring Mercury than it is trining these Sun-Jupiter conjunctions. Oh, that would be what planet was moving behind the sun right now. Jupiter is the one we saw on that Soho imagery. We have a Sun-Jupiter conjunction. The sun's going to overtake Jupiter and then be in the lead for the planets. And Venus is currently conjunct Uranus. So we have a densifying, a condensation, a materialization of the etheric consciousness of Uranus, or the revolutionary urge to make things better in the material world, melding with the material restrictions of working through value and actual physical reality. But this is probably feeling very positive for you if you are feeling the Sun-Jupiter conjunction at all. But let's not get too rose-colored glasses by our Moon and Neptune here, because we are about to enter Jupiter in Gemini, and that is going to be quite a time, I believe, for communication and blowing up of ideas and concepts, and changing ideas. So I'm going to savor the last few days that we have with this 5-planet stellium in Taurus. I think it's a beautiful time to explore the natural world. Probably a lot more rain and severe electrical weather. A lot of manifestations of climate change coming to light right now. All right, I think I want to close out this reading pretty soon, because I am, with all this geomagnetic storming, we've been under geomagnetic storm conditions for like a week straight now. I am finding that I'm losing my voice a little bit, so I need to end this pretty soon. So I'm just going to do a card pull from the deck that we didn't pull from last night. The selenite crystal is the one that I charge with this. And this is the crystal that's like kind of like a fiber optics, but in a crystal form. Nature's fiber optics. This is it. Oh, this one. Oh, that is really cute. Okay. This is got a little moth or a butterfly on a path on it, and it says, "It is not my work to control others. Trying to limit anybody about anything defies the laws of the universe. It cannot be done. You cannot control others, but you can control and create your own reality." So what does that mean for you? What does it mean to create and control your own reality without controlling other people? What is your goal for trying to control people? Can you just accomplish that without the control? Can you find your agency in your own reality that lies with what you are actually in charge of, which is yourself? And can we take responsibility by not looking outward for the reason that we're feeling emotions, but looking inward and realizing that all of those things are in our control? Trying not to get discouraged by the things that are out of our control, or by trying to manipulate people, even if you think it's benevolent manipulation for their own good. Don't try to control people, just period, is probably best for everyone. All right. That is beautiful. I'm going to say thank you to that. And thank you to everyone out there for tuning in tonight. And I will see you tomorrow night on Saturday. Love you guys very much. Have a good evening. Bye. Bye.